Welcome, my friends. This is Maniacal Incorporated. No, I haven't started a new playthrough. Still playing as Rúadacán II in Ireland, but I've just seen that Jerusalem, the Kingdom of Jerusalem, was formed quite recently. They're in two wars at the moment, doing A-OK in one of them, not so well in the other. So we'll take this opportunity not to adopt special succession in Scotland, but to go on a pilgrimage, and we will head for Jerusalem and we'll see what's going on there. Before we set off, we have matters relating to our own kingdom to deal with, and that is the succession. At the moment we're supporting our brother. I think he's not that much younger than us, so he was only ever kind of a temporary support. The vassals at the moment, here they are ranked. Flann Sinna, the son of Brangan, is down in 5th position. He'd make an interesting person to support. Again, he's early 40s. So at the moment, I'm kind of debating between him or, and I think this is who I'm going to support, the current leader, Rian. He's been doing a great job for us of recent as our main military engineer, and he's going to be put to use quite shortly. He's a tough soldier. His education isn't as good as Flann Sinna's is in, I forget what it is he's actually educated in. I think he's a scholar like ourselves. 2-star, tough soldier, not great, not bad, a giant. He's a son of Moltoli. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to support Rian for the High Kingship. He's already in 1st position. This pretty much just strengthens his vote. He has 2 people voting for him, Leachnaun, myself now, and this guy in Ossory. But we can see that a lot of people aren't supporting him because he is too young. And then at the bottom, he is an unproven, spoiled man. No doubt, as he grows older, that will change. So hopefully our king, Rúadacán, won't be dying anytime soon. But most certainly, Rian will be given opportunities to prove himself in the near future. Our army is pretty much kaput at the moment, so I'm not going to do too much with it. I'm going to allow it to at least recover for the next couple of months to bring us into the year 1014, which of course is when the Battle of Clontarf happened. So we're gonna spend a couple of months anyway just trying to rebuild the numbers, and we're probably going to have to go on the offensive pretty shortly. But for now, we're just gonna sit back and let more recruits join our armies. So Rúadacán prepares for his pilgrimage to the Holy Land. He'll be gone for a long time, and you can only pray that the Lord watches over the realm as well. It is time to depart. Now, we're going to be getting a lot of these over the next while because a lot of our family is in prison. This is the King of West Francia. We took Lancashire, am I correct, from him in the last episode. There you go. And he has a lot of our family members in prison, a lot of our courtiers. I don't even know who this is. Nick Kieran, so she'd be the daughter of the previous king. Do you know what? We might as well ransom. Give the devil as much money as he wants. As Rúadacán travels to the Holy Land, he is passing a campfire, and they are telling a story about some high king, and they're laughing hysterically. Don't worry, my lord. You're nothing like the spawn of hell in this story. It's about the high king of some faraway place called Ireland. I think I've heard of that place. It didn't exist until quite recently. So who's he talking about? He could be talking about Flann Sinna. He could, of course, be talking about Rúadacán, that'd be Rúadacán the First. This is Rúadacán the Second we're looking at, so his grandfather, if I'm correct. He's probably not going to be too happy. Really now, tell me more about this high king. Now, I said we were going to take a break from any wars and let the army build up. if the King of West Francia is going to be demanding money off of us, we need to get money together somehow, and especially as we're also financing our pilgrimage to the Holy Land. So I'm going to raise these guys in Northumberland, going to split them in half, and we're actually going to raid Sweden, Scottish Sweden, to see if we get a reaction out of them, because they're involved in 2 wars at the moment. Finland is attempting to conquer Sweden. Sweden is winning in that one. They're also winning in the conquest of part of East Francia, if I'm right. So we'll see if we actually get a reaction out of them, if they send troops over to deal with us or anything like that. Who knows how far we've managed to get on our journey. Apparently this woman is located in Dublin, so we haven't gotten very far. She's jumped up onto a rock, and she's preaching to the assembled crowd. If we shed our garbs, can we recover the lost innocence of Adam and Eve? Then and only then will the Holy Spirit see fit to touch us and show us God's true love. So we could say that she has the right idea. I've never felt so close to God. Convert to Adamitism, or Adamitism. I'm not going to the effort of having to put Flann Sinna heads over all the nudie bits that shouldn't be seen. I'm not going down that route. We could say heretic, get down from there, get some piety, challenge her to a theological debate. We could 99% chance that we gain up to 250 piety and 300 learning lifestyle experience. Now, of course, we've just switched away from that, and we're now devoted to authority focus. We're going to ignore her and continue on our journey and get 75 prestige. And before we were so rudely interrupted by that naked woman on a rock shouting, I was going to say that we've gotten our armies in place. They've started sieging down Lothian. The Swedes, fair play to them, are doing a great job financing everything. We've been getting a good chunk of money off the Swedish, actually. Rian has been put in charge of the army that's raiding down that region there, the actual castle. And so Rúadacán has arrived in Jerusalem. I think he's only the 2nd Irish High King to go to Jerusalem. The majority of them go to the Vatican to try and meet His Holiness and explain to him the correct methods for the calculation of Easter. We've gotten to Jerusalem. The abbot offers me blessings. I reflect on everything that had to happen for God to bring me here at this moment in time. Indeed, it's been a chaotic decade or 2 decades. In the Kingdom of Ireland, we get a half ton of crosses that we can bring back to Ireland and sell, 875. And he gets the pilgrim trait. So I was thinking maybe of getting Rúadacán up to the highest level of piety, but we have a problem. He has one of the traits from the Revelers group, which I think is that he's an eager reveler. More than likely. There you go. So he can't embrace celibacy while he enjoys partying. So no celibacy for Rúadacán. We are getting 3 piety per month. However, now, of course, we have a very big number to try and hit 2,000 before we can go up to the next level, which I think requires 4,000. So unless he gets in another pilgrimage, I don't think... 15 years per pilgrimage, it's possible. Highly unlikely. Then again, he has a lot of really good health traits. But he has a lot of really good health traits, says he, highlighting eager reveler. Possibly he might get in another pilgrimage. I don't think we'll be taking him up to the highest piety level. He returns, stroking his beard. And the pilgrimage ends. In our last siege, we have managed to take the wife and the son of the Count of Lanarkshire. So we're going to ransom the 2 of them back. We'll get 25 for the wife, and then when we come to ransom the son shortly, we'll get another 10. The handy thing is, we have to go on our roundabout way to find them, but the Swedes are they're now losing in their war against East Francia. Now, they have gotten together a good chunk of numbers. They're up to almost 6,000 troops and 2,200 mercenaries. A lot more than we could put together, but they are in a weak state at the moment, and they are distracted. And we're now into April of 1014, the anniversary of the Battle of Clontarf. We're probably not going to be in a position to do anything against the Swedes on the actual anniversary, which is just passed. I think it was the 21st of April, 1014. I might be wrong. But quite shortly, we're going to strike against Sweden. I think it'll be the first time ever that the Irish will actually strike against Sweden instead of the opposite way around. I think at this point in time, we need to go big or go home. I was going to just declare war for a single county, which my sister has claims to, and we were going to install her here. Instead, we're going to take the try to complete the Duchy of Strathclyde, if I am correct, which is this region here. And we're going to try and take all 3 counties from Sweden. Initially, I intended just a kind of a hit and run, strike for a single county and get out. Maybe we're a bit too overconfident. Maybe this is insanity. But this would be a severe blow to Norse and Swedish aspirations in Scotland and in Britain and Ireland in total. If we can pull this off, for the first time ever, the Irish are going to declare war on the Swedish. I've split the army in 2. I've put both of them under the control of men with the military engineer trait, and we're sending them to Lennox and Ayrshire to start sieging down, and hopefully, possibly, bring this to an end quickly before the Swedish can actually bring any of their wars on the continent to an end. It would be fantastic if we could pull this off without needing to bring in reinforcements. The other handy thing here is that we're in a position to run if the Swedish bring any forces in from the east, and then possibly look at bringing in allies if they become necessary at that stage. A tragic loss in the midst of the war. Here is the Duke of Northumbria, who doesn't like me very much. He wants a seat in the council. Well, his wife had a seat in the council. She has just died in childbirth. From what I can see, the child has survived and has immediately inherited her title as the Countess of Dunbar. But their older child died at just a year old from heart failure. A couple of just barely over a year, I think. So tragedy there, and we're left to appoint a new councillor. Moraid was our steward. We had her improving development in a number of counties in the hope of getting some advancements a bit earlier and speeding up our progression to the feudal era. Donal is very close to actually getting the title, but I think instead we're going to give it to Luod. He's a bit higher at a 14. He's also a powerful vassal, so we will assign him as our new steward and put him, if he isn't already, he should be, increasing the development, and that's just going to take hopefully just a few days. And speaking of speeding up research, we have just discovered the onager, and we're now left with 2 more innovations that we need to discover before we can progress to the next stage. We are currently fascinated by public works, and that's going to take 15 years. Barracks will take 209. I've actually clicked on both. We're exposed to public works, and we're fascinated by it. If I change our fascination to barracks, that goes down to 10 years, and public works stays at 34. So it's unlikely that we're going to see a progression to the feudal era under our current king, Rúadacán, which is a bit of a pity. But his scholar trait is what's really pushing this up at the moment. But you can see there the average development of Irish counties is not great. So I'm trying to push that up a bit in the hopes that it will contribute. I suppose we might as well devote ourselves to barracks in 10 years. Even with being exposed and fascinated, it'll still take 15 years. Whereas if we're just fascinated with barracks, it'll take 10. Yep, we might as well go with barracks. I actually haven't paid much attention to our men-at-arms regiment since the Kingdom of Ireland collapsed. I created pikemen. I created bowmen. I definitely created light footmen. More light footmen. How many light footmen do they think that we need? And why do we have 3 instead of just maxing this up to 5 and then, if necessary, creating another one? I suppose we might as well just let this war play out and then actually go about sorting this scenario out. And replacing one of them at least with an onager for the crack to see what it does, and possibly putting this up to its max or something and sorting out one of the others. This is kind of weird. I was just about to say we should take a look at how things are going on the continent. The war against East Francia has ended. The Swedish are still winning their war against the Finnish, but it looks like they're now in a position to start bringing their troops into Britain. We see 2,300 Swedish troops arriving. Hopefully that's all at the moment. These might even be mercenaries. They're not, I don't think. Hopefully that's all they're landing for the moment. Yeah, we're gonna have to see. We might need to bring in reinforcements. This is a pity because we were really close to actually sieging down both of these areas. We'll have to lift at least one of the sieges, unless they start sieging down one of our areas, which would be fantastic. Let's see what they do. So we're in a position to unlock a martial lifestyle perk just as the Swedes begin to move their army north into Lennox. So let's go and check that out first of all. In the last episode we finished off one of the learning trees. We might as well go and take a look at it. The whole body tree. And I switched over to martial to basically go down the control route. Our control is in tatters. It's hitting our taxes, it's especially hitting our reinforcements, so we're going to go for a natural dread plus 15 and control growth plus 0.3 per month. So that's going to hopefully start to get more men together, and we're probably going to come down this side first of all before coming down this way. I'm wondering what we do in this scenario. Do we let them hit Lennox, finish the siege in Ayrshire, and then bring that army up? That's what I'm thinking for now. We're seeing more troops coming in. We'd better bring that army up quickly. Oh, this is what I wanted to click on. If we can get them in, we might have a better advantage. I'll actually change the commander here. It is saying that I'm the best. You know what? We'll send the man himself in. He created this mess. And I think, regardless of how this battle turns out, we're going to have to probably start bringing in some allies. Oh, we killed our commander. Our chieftain Flann Sinna has been wounded. We've actually managed to deal a significant blow to them. And it looks like we've managed to fight them off. I'm not going to lie, that was unexpected. Okay, what do we do now? As much as it pains me, we're going to bring in some allies. They're gonna at least help us, because we need to continue sieging down places. So yeah, let's go and see what allies we can get our hands on. I'm actually surprised we have very few alliances, but here is another opportunity to secure one into the Romagna. This is one of our sons, Nyakton. So we're going to marry him off to, or at least organize a betrothal between him and Princess O Fortuna. And for now, we should let bygones be bygones. This is his younger brother, Leinchuk. And we're going to organize a marriage for him, which will secure for us an alliance with the exceptionally young King of France, or King of West Francia, who we were at war with until recently. We'll send that proposal first of all, and we'll just take a look at what's actually after going on. So here's the guy. He had a ton of our people in prison, and he was ransoming them. He was sending them back to us. He was ransoming them out to us. I don't know why the hell I can't even talk today. And yeah, I'm not too sure what's after happening to him. He abdicated. There you go. Abdicated in favor of his very young son. Said son still has a ton of our court in jail, including one of our wives and a couple of characters who are threatening to leave the king's court. I don't think it works that way. You can't just leave. We'd better start ransoming some more of these people out now that we're up to +5 per month. We've gotten our alliance with the Romagna, and you can see there in the corner that our ally, the High Chieftain of De Hybert, Welsh Mead as I call it, has joined us. So that's excellent on both counts. Hopefully he'll raise his troops here and bring them up. That would be handy. Here's our alliance with West Francia. Let bygones be bygones. He's probably too young to even remember. He doesn't know nothing. He's only 6. So it'd be great if they'd raise their forces there. I don't think they will. For now, I suppose we'd better actually keep the army together. I'm not too sure what the Swedish are doing. Maybe we should bring them back into Irish soil for a couple of minutes just to let them gain some numbers possibly. And hope that our allies will come north to join us. To hell with that, we're going to march the army up. The Swedish have ended their war with the Finnish, but they have also lost all of their mercenaries. Now they have brought a large force around the coast. I'm not too sure where they're going. Well, no, I know where they're going. They're gonna land here and siege Lennox. But we're going to try and attack their army over here first of all. Hopefully we're going to hit them. They've just taken off before we got there. And hopefully our allies will be up at some point in time. Here they are. This is the marriage proposal that will unite ourselves in De Hybert. My God, are they actually going to get out and manage to make it over there now in time? That would be a terror. That's probably what's going to happen. Well, that was... I was going to say that was a waste of time. We were caught going around in a circle. Yeah, I think they're gonna get out to sea before we hit them. Maybe not. Oh, Lord. I think our prisoners are being released slowly but surely. There you go. It only took us several hours. And the Swedish have almost sieged down Lennox. God, that was absolutely horrendous. Do they lift the siege? They lifted it just before they completed the takeover. Fantastic. So it's going in cycles. Sweden is strong and then weakened. One of our champions was killed. Sweden goes through periods where it's tremendously powerful and it beats the living crap out of us, and then we go through periods where I won't say we're tremendously powerful, but we're in a position to actually strike back at them. So she was killed in a siege, his wife was killed in a siege in 1009, and he's after dying in battle in 1015. Tragedy. Let's divide up the armies and actually start sieging down some places. Our allies have caught the Swedish in Galloway, giving them a tremendous beating. They only now have a tiny army retreating up into the northeast of Scotland. And our allies have started sieging down Carrick. Fantastic. How are we actually doing? 28% war score. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. While we're waiting for the sieges to siege, I suppose we might as well take a look at the last two battles. We don't have a lot of recognizable names. We, of course, have Flann Sinna of Man. And we have Abner. If I'm right, yeah, Abner is a son of Ciarán. You don't forget a name like Abner in Ireland. There's Rian. Rian got a couple of kills. Fair play to him. Nobody way up the list. There's Ernach, who was also considered as a successor for a period of time. Umnachon, I think, who was killed in the last battle. And then, again, Flann Sinna. I think a lot of our allies were doing most of the heavy lifting, possibly. I don't think we're doing great for knights at the moment. We have 11 of them. I remember once a 17 was our worst knight. So, yeah. Yeah. We do have an option to invite some champions, and I think we're going to have to take it. I didn't want to spin the prestige, but I think we're going to have to take it at this stage. So somebody heard that I needed knights. Phelimid Fitzpatrick has declared that they have been burdened by my oppressive laws for far too long. No more. We are done paying you taxes. So I can either grant -75 to control. Never. We've never accepted these before. Sutherland, Fife is under siege. Rally the troops. The troops are already rallied. And these guys realize that they have probably started a revolt at a very bad moment in time. Our lowborn, but very high-skilled wife has given us another son. We married her pretty much because she'd been married to the two previous High Kings before us. So she's turned into a type of a sovereignty figure, somebody like Gormla. Actually, speaking of 1014 in the Battle of Clontarf, of course, Gormla was the wife of the King of Dublin, Amlíomh Corán. Then she was married to the High King of Ireland, Molchach Neil MacDonald. Then she was married to the guy who replaced him, Brian Boru. And at the Battle of Clontarf, she was no longer married to Brian Boru at this stage, but her ex-husband and her son, so that would be Brian Boru and his son Donnacha, they fought against her other son, Citric Silkenbeard, in Dublin. It was a weird and awkward conflab, which I'll be actually dealing with in an episode later on. But so Gormla was a type of a sovereignty figure, almost. Quite a powerful woman. And Adelaidis, I can't pronounce her name, but she has become similar in this game, having now been married to 3 High Kings. I am unsure as to how to pronounce this, so we'll find something... Arcade. We had a Bishop Arcade that we murdered a long time ago. Let's go with that. May you grow to be strong and wise and holy, my son. Nobody's too sure what they want to do. The Swedish have sailed away, and they're sailing back in now. They're probably going to come in against one of our forces. They're not. Oh, they've probably done the worst thing they could possibly do, which is give us time to siege down some areas and then attack them. As always, we have some people in our dungeons. What a fun place it is to be in our dungeon. This woman is in our dungeon again for the second time in as many years. I think it was like 1014 or 1013 was the last time that she was captured in Lanarkshire and ransomed out back to her husband, who, as you can see, is dead. So we're now ransoming her to her son that we also released the last time round. So ransom her. So we've ransomed these 3 off. We're not getting anything for this person. Interesting stats, but they're a lunatic. We've completed our sieges. I'm moving our 2 armies north to fight the Swedish. Hopefully our allies in Ayrshire will arrive before the second army to the east. They are indeed. They're now following right after. And the Swedish are running away. Too late. Flann Sinna II has been maimed. Flann Sinna II, I think he maimed the king. He did. He's created a second metal king of Sweden. Oh, they'll remember Flann Sinna. Just while I was going down through my knights, I came upon this guy. I'd forgotten about him. We captured him and his son. And his brother, who we executed. And his brother's wife, who we executed. And his other brother's wife, who we executed. Well, that was Kieran. Kieran did all that. Yeah, I'm not to blame. That was under a previous administration. So he's been heading up the kill list. His former wife died. His previous wife died from wounds in 1013. So I've sent out a proposal to somebody in Europe. I'm not too sure what his sons are doing. One of them is a vassal of ours. I think they're both vassals of ours. Oh, they are, because we've conquered the entire region that they were originally based in. And his daughter is in our court in Dublin, I think. So we might see possibly about... Oh, we can't... Well, she's not. She's in Dublin. She's just not in our court. I was gonna demand her conversion. I need to go down to the court again and demand conversions to the correct methods for the calculation of Easter for anyone that currently isn't following them. But we might actually see about trying to organize a marriage for her to maybe one of our knights or something. Here's that last battle at Lennox, in which we wounded, when I say we, I mean Chieftain Flann Sinna II of Man, wounded the King of Sweden and put him behind a metal mask. There is the guy, I've no idea how to pronounce that. There's the guy that we were just addressing. Monia is a vassal of Dehybert. Who else do we have here of any interest? Here's our own Metal King of Sweden, Concain U Cruhur Schligach. That'll be the O'Connors of Sligo. There's Rian, having a good old time, happy out for himself. As long as we don't have any disastrous battles in which Rian gets killed or anything like that. Again, it's very unwise, as a lot of people will tell me. It's very unwise to have our successor here fighting, especially when his prowess is so low. Well, that's all that the Kingdom of Ireland can offer you, is near constant threats of death. I'm bringing across most of my forces to siege Lothian, but I'm actually bringing the forces under the High King himself up to deal with this peasant rebellion. Get us a new knight. Once that peasant leader is arrested, the Swedish, of course, are bringing their forces around again to siege down Lennox, but we should be able to hopefully hit and siege Lothian before they get that done, and then zigzag them back and forth. I do like how our allies don't feel that we can deal with the peasants on our own, and they're actually sending reinforcements up to deal with them. Maybe that's a good idea if the Swedish are going to move their army north. Those poor peasants don't know what to do. They realized, oh, we've made a very, very bad mistake. Well, I think we figured out where the Swedish are going. Oh god. The Sami have declared a war to subjugate Sweden. I'm not too sure why Finland is lit up dark red. Now I understand, because here's the defenders, the Swedish, and they're facing off against 16,000 troops, including the Finnish. So we're not going to see, possibly we're going to see the end of Sweden. The only problem is that we are then going to see the remaining Swedish entities in Britain become part of this absolutely ginormous Norse Empire. You're probably looking, is there an Empire of Scandinavia in this? Because if there is, I think you're looking at it being created pretty shortly. So they're off the coast of Orkney. You can see the Swedish withdrawing and heading to mount some bit of a defense, I'm sure. Never mind, they're back. So we have our forces isolated to the south of their current position. We might need to make a run for it. No, they're actually not going to come down and attack us. We're not doing a great job against this rebel army. Dunadach has died. I don't know what the hell he was. And I don't know who he was even related to anymore. Dunadach was he's of the Green Graffador branch of the family, and he was ruling in Dehybert. Let's see what's after happening. Yes, Dehybert and Mercia have split apart, which means that the area again is ripe for attack from the English. And to make matters worse, Dunadach died under mysterious circumstances. So it looks like somebody had him assassinated. The head of the house has changed to looks like his son and successor. Our alliance is invalidated. That guy has joined our war, and the head of the dynasty has also changed to the same guy. Do we have an alliance with them still? We do not. So who is... We might be able to reform that, or maybe not. I think it's Dunadach's grandson that has just inherited. We have to check. This is a bit convoluted. Yeah, it's his grandson that's inherited. So I think we're married to his aunt. We might be able to reform this alliance. Let's see if we can reform this alliance, because it's something that people have been telling me. We right-click on the Baba, and we can go to negotiate alliance. Well, we can go to negotiate alliance because of our existing blood ties. Do we want to, though? Yeah, 1,200 troops. And this guy's our brother-in-law, so we should have some type of an alliance to him. 525. We'll hold off for a while and we'll see. We might form alliances with these families. Or maybe we'll do something else. In the midst of all that, we handed the peasant rebellion a defeat. We can enforce our demands. This guy, Flann Fitzpatrick, goes to our prison, so be it. You know what's going to happen. We negotiate his release on the condition that... Do you know what? We'll get... Oh, we can't get a wee cook as well. We'll negotiate his release on the condition that he joins our court. And there we have a Marshal 20, 3-star skill tactician. He's aggressive attacker, he's got biceps, and he's got a sickle. Flann tells us that he had no choice but to accept. Well, farewell, Flann. Wherever it is that you're going to go in the world, all the best to you. Talk to you again. Good luck. And even though he's given out to me like mad, calling me loathsome, we're still going to get a wife for him. A member of the family. She's actually a daughter of the previous High King, Huron. Again, she's a skilled tactician, military engineer. She does have the dwarf trait, which might be inherited. But he's going to get a lot of prestige from this. So he's just after being released from prison. And now he's getting almost as much prestige as we have. He should be happy. I'm sure he won't be. We're moving our army south to deal with the Swedish. It's actually taken them a very long time to actually get onto that ship. They've duped us. They've managed... We should have nearly gone out to sea as well. It would probably taken a very long time, however. Diarmid has just died. Rian has just died! Oh, no! And the Swedish, the devils. Let's see if we can catch them. With the death of High Chieftain Ochon Mac Vran of the Isles, your vassal, Chieftain Flann Sinna Mac Brangan of Man, is now the new... Oh, Lord. That was absolutely devastating. Fair play to them. They duped us utterly. Sent their forces out into the sea here. Came across into Lothian. Champion has arrived. So this is... Diarmid was killed. That's one of our councillors. We have a new archbishop. Rian was slain in battle by... I'm going to find you and the things I'll do to you. I'm going to put a pin in that man. Rian was killed. Ochon was killed. And two others, it's saying. We'll take a look at that battle, actually. They fought well. Fair play to them. They fought well. There were very few actual knights in that army. My allies had unnecessarily came north to... They did nothing with that peasant rebellion. A massive, relatively massive Swedish force came in against them. And of course our only surviving knight is that guy who like I've said, I can't even pronounce his name. Oh, they put up a tremendous battle. Fair play to them. But there you go. The succession thrown into utter crisis. Not for the first time, not for the last time. Rian, son of Moll Toli, we were supporting him for the High Kingship, and he has been slain in battle. They gave out to him that he was spoiled and that he hadn't proven himself. Well, he's proven himself now. The Swedish are trying to make a run for it after all the damage that they've dealt. I think we've caught them. We have indeed. Our allies will hopefully come in, or we're going to be in a bit of trouble. Took them a while. They actually still have far superior numbers to us. And it looks like it's going to be a second defeat. As our forces withdraw and lick their wounds and recuperate, we'll take a look at the man who has been nominated as our successor. Don Mac Ciarán, a son of our predecessor, Ciarán Mac Flann Sinna. He's 17, a 3-star tactician. And you know what? We've supported him as well. There are 2 vassals supporting him. Now we're supporting him. Because what we need to accept is the fact that Rúadacán has become only the 3rd High King in Irish history to enter his 60s. His health is good. His health is fine. But again, we do know that the first Flann Sinna, our first ruler, reached 66, and that's the longest living Irish High King so far, so we do have to prepare for a succession in the next couple of years. So somebody's flirting with us. Bardov, she's the wife of Flann Sinna. We're going to say no, my heart remains pure. We can see that the Swedish are landing in Carrick, but of course what I noticed from that is poor Flann Sinna has lost an arm. He's maimed. And another individual named Flann Sinna, his father, of course, died from his wounds. I can't remember, was it securing the Isle of Man? And now he also has suffered substantial wounds, quite impressively. His prowess is still at 15, so it's possible that he's still actually one of our serving knights. Somebody else who's eligible for the succession, somebody who I was thinking of supporting. Only problem is he's 45, and he'll be into his early 50s if we do get another couple of years out of Rúadacán. Definitely Rúadamna, royal material, somebody who was eligible for and who was seriously considered for the High Kingship. And somebody who was given an arm in making it a reality and preserving it. De Hybert have decided to stand and fight, which is an absolutely terrible idea. We're going to try and bring our forces across and see if we can get in and help them. This is not a great idea. They would have been much better served if they had withdrawn and joined up with us. So we've come in against them. Oh, God only knows what I've clicked on. Here is the new High Chieftain of Mercia, and we're attempting to sway him at the moment, with the idea possibly of offering him vassalization. It's unlikely that he'll accept, but let's see if we can go down the peaceful route first of all. And we're going to try and make some arguments towards him. We have a 95% chance that he will gain opinion of us and that we will gain 75 prestige. That's exactly what happened. Things are quite close in this battle. It's now turning against us. It's now turning in favour of us. Flann Sinna has had his head ripped off. Well, like I said, the annals will record that he was Rúadamna. And another member of that family has given their lives in service to the Kingdom of Ireland. And we will have victory. And again, with the Sami attempting to conquer all of Sweden, we need to bring this war to an end hurriedly. They're down at -4%, but if the Sami come into this war, they are now at 26,000 troops. This is why we desperately need to chip off as much land here as we possibly can. On the left-hand side, we see Flann Sinna's son and successor, Cahmal, as the new chieftain of Man. Flann Sinna had his head ripped off by Jarl Borkvard. And we can see him up here. He got 74 kills before he was slain in battle by Ferkar Uvrian. And this is him over here. I was just looking at him recently. He tops a lot of our lists. Here's our other knight that we've been impressed with the last while. This guy, like I said, we massacred most of his family, and he's now a loyal servant to us. And there he is, poor Flann Sinna. He was topping a good chunk of the lists of recent. Concain was killed as well. Had his head ripped off by the same guy, so fair play to Ferkar. And this guy was then killed by, again, I can't pronounce his name. I don't know, is that a B or a D sound at the start? But God, a great victory, our first victory in a while over the Swedish, one that I think will break their forces in Scotland, hopefully allow us to finish the last siege that we need to enforce our demands. But what a tragic pity that we had to lose Flann Sinna in it. And like I said, his prowess was at 15. It had dropped to 13. He was still in there as one of the top knights. We're being pushed hard for knights at the moment. In all the anarchy and excitement, I'd half forgotten that we had gotten a martial lifestyle perk. We're going to go for strict organization, which will help to increase the increased control in county progress gain. So that's needed. And if we look at our council, our marshal, he's a 17. That peasant leader that we got is a 20 marshal, I think. But I'm going to leave this guy in charge for now. He's our brother-in-law, and he's 72 marshal. Fair play to him. Fair play to him. No, he's 72 years of age is what I meant. My God, 72 marshal. That would be fantastic. He's a 17 marshal, but he's 13 months now to restore control in Dublin. So what I might actually do is instead switch him to let Dublin just come up to full capacity naturally. And 8 years to restore control in Connacht. What's it at? It's at 12. My God. As we prepare to siege down Lothian and hopefully bring this war to an end, I have appointed Rian's brother, Quillan, as I put him in charge of the army because he also is a military engineer, just like his brother. And we can see that their brother Volvari, he was killed a good while ago in 1008. I'm not too sure what war this was in, whether he died serving us or fighting for somebody else, but he is a vassal in this region up here. Substantial knight, 21 prowess. So that's the... How many of poor old Moltoli's family is that dead now? That's a good chunk of them. There's 3 of them dead. Eadmon died of consumption. Volvari was killed in battle, and Rian was killed in battle. Spirits are low, but in honour of Flann Sinna, we're going to hold a feast. Also, just, it's the most efficient thing to do, and I need prestige, but we are holding it in honour of Flann Sinna. We're not even going to hold off until we have completed the conquest. Had I gone with the short, sharp war, we would have had this county taken ages ago, with all the damage that we've done, and we'd still have the succession in place. We'd still have Rian about to succeed as High King, and we'd probably still have Flann Sinna. The mood is bright and spirits are high. I don't know. I imagine it will be a muted celebration. So back to the good old days of the first Flann Sinna and to Grian Grafador. One of our vassals is allergic to lemon. And we forgot to tell the cook we're going to save him, get some prestige and get a weak hook on him. That was Ernach, somebody else who we've considered for the succession from time to time. We've gotten our usual owl pop-up that the wine is all gone. We still haven't actually restocked the place since Flann Sinna II drank it all. We have some secret stores, which will give us 150 prestige. And you can see we've also gotten a pop-up. In this time of violence and anarchy, dying of old age, few enough people have been granted that luxury of recent. Our marshal has died, and we're going to appoint a new one. And I thought we were going to be appointing Phelimid Fitzpatrick, but we've just hired a knight of recent, Gudbrand, and he's 23, so he's going to be taking that position. So he actually just joined our court very recently. 18 prowess, +1 from the holy site, so we'll leave him as pagan Norse. And I think, I don't know if it's made much of a difference. It's still taking 7 years to restore control in Connacht. There's a control growth modifier of -0.58. I have to look into that shortly. Our siege isn't going great. It's taking a while. The Swedish are going out to sea. More than likely they're going to come around to the west coast of Scotland. Our feast comes to an end. I say until next time, but at 61 years of age, I don't know if there's going to be a next time. So indeed, the Swedish have just taken their forces around the northern coast of Scotland. Hopefully we'll get Lothian sieged down. There's a substantial jump there. Nephew was slain in battle. Let's just take a look at that. He's the son of the High Chief of Leinster. I think there's a war going on. Somebody's either fighting... Ossory might be either fighting for independence or to end the tyranny of somebody. But a member of our family has just been killed there. And indeed, our vassal has been taken prisoner by the Count of Ossory, or the Chief of Ossory. The Swedish forces have landed again. You'd think they'd actually go away and fight the massive problematic war that they're having in Sweden. My vassal has been released from prison, but he's no longer wearing his crown. Let's see what's after happening in Leinster. So he was forced to abdicate in favour of his son. And maybe that'll keep Ossory content now. Oh, I don't know what to say. It's great not to have to worry about the anarchy that's going on in Ireland anymore, because we've created the kingdom. Back to the good old days of just, yeah, do whatever you want, I don't care. I think the Swedish are bringing in allies now to make things even better. But we are... I'd be surprised if we siege this place down and we don't have a 100% war score. And there you go. There you go. For the first time ever, we are in a position to strip land off of the Swedish. We're going to enforce our demands. The Swedish killed Flann Sinna. Flann Sinna trapped the King of Sweden behind a metal mask. Greetings, High King Rúadacán of Ireland. Blessings upon you and your house. You are a much greater foe than I imagined. In order to put an end to the bloodshed, I will comply with your demands. Signed by King Bragi of Sweden. If I'm right, his father was the King of Norway, who we took. Oh God, I can't even remember now. Dunbar, this place, and here. Anyway, we took those regions from. Look at this. Swedish power has been driven back to its lowest level in Scotland in decades. Now there is still that scenario. Let's see how things are going in the war for the control of Sweden itself. We can just about fit the whole thing on the map. The massive worldwide Norse holdings in northern and southern Spain, what was formerly Savoy, pushing into Italy, bordering the Romagna. It's not looking good for them. They're at minus 12% war score. I can't possibly understand how, when you have 26,000 troops fighting against 2,400 who haven't left Scotland, I don't understand how they're not absolutely decimating the Swedish in this war. But I presume it's going to be only a matter of time before they bring their forces to bear, unless those 2,500 Swedish forces, now that they're free, travel over and absolutely wipe out the Sami and Finland. These are the only two regions that have been seized as yet. Yeah, I don't know. This is going to be terrifying once we have that 26,000 strong coalition occupying these areas. We have some prisoners in our dungeon. Here's the 54-year-old Countess of Lothian. Here is her 16-year-old husband and her 35-year-old daughter. We could ransom both of them back. After the death of Flann Sinna, Rúadacán is not exactly in the best mood. So what's become fairly interesting at this point in time is we're battling the Norse, we're terrified of the Norse, but a number of our top knights are also Norse and have contributed tremendously to our victories of recent. And we've also taken a lot of insular Christians and Catholics prisoner over our various wars. So we're beginning to see this, I won't say melding, but our kingdom is becoming very heavily dependent on Norse soldiers, Norse champions, to achieve our goals. And as I've mentioned, the Battle of Clontarf a few times in this episode, it occurred, if I'm right, the 21st of April, 1014. It's quite often framed as the Irish against the Vikings, Christianity against paganism. Brian Boru saved Ireland from the Vikings. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Brian Boru was fighting against his stepson, and Brian Boru's son Donica was fighting against his half-brother. There were a lot of Vikings from Limerick on the side of the Irish, and of course the army that Brian Boru was fighting against was actually led by his brother-in-law, Gormla's brother. And he was from Leinster. He was the king of Leinster. Was he the king of Leinster at the time? I think he was. a member of the Dunlena family. So he was actually allied, Leinster was allied to Viking Dublin, and then there were also Vikings allied to the Irish forces from Munster. So it's kind of playing out again. We're beginning to see that here. If we go down to our knights list, our list of champions. So this guy again was the only survivor of the battle in which Rian was killed, and was Flann Sinna killed in that battle as well? I think that was the one that he was killed in. Here we have another. So we have a Gaelic Norse pagan. We have a Norse pagan, a Norwegian. I think he's only joined of recently. And it's either... This is the guy then that's serving as our marshal. I think we have another couple in here. Of course, oh, your man from... Was it Dunbar? Or Durham? I need to go and check. Just while I'm thinking about him. I think it was Durham. Let's see if we can bring him up. Sorkver. No, it was Sorkver the Elder. So again, this was one of our great knights in battles gone by. So for all the hatred that previous High Kings had towards the Norse, and for the hatred that Rúadacán has just shown in executing two of their number, they have become invested in and part of the Kingdom of Ireland, and they are instrumental in achieving our war goals and leading our armies, and it's just interesting to see how that's playing out. It's not in our best interest that we would go and start forcing them to convert or anything like that, so possibly we might even come to an accommodation where we might allow certain parts of Scotland to just remain as Norse pagan. And we're hopefully just about to see another expansion to the kingdom. I have offered vassalage to Mercia. I've got my opinion up to 100% by basically giving them money. They have refused. I sent some money to Dehybert. I've increased my standing with him. He's 5 years of age, Dúnadach II. And we've offered him vassalage. Possibly he's too young to fully understand what we mean, or possibly his advisors believe that with Dehybert split, and now just to the south of Sweden, it would be best to accept vassalization. We're going to offer him that and see. Will that return to Ireland? We're well and above our domain limit, so I'm going to start giving some places out. Here's our former marshal. And he was married to our sister Anya. She had a claim to Lennox. Now we can't grant Lennox to her. We could have conquered it for her, but we can't now grant it to her. She has one child from a previous marriage. Again, because she's a female, we can't grant it to her. So instead, we're going to, and this is why I did this possibly at the start of this episode, I married her off to not a close relative, but they are related. So we're gonna give the title of Lennox to this guy, if we can find where it is. After all my talking about them, I thought it was only fair and right to reward them for the service that they have rendered in the past war. So Ayrshire has been given to the only survivor of, I think it was the Battle of Lothian, in which Rian and Flann Sinna were killed, and Carrick has been given to Fair Car. The problem with him at the moment is that he has no children. Now, he might take on additional wives. Ayrshire, at least the succession there is secure. But Carrick might be coming back under crown control at some point in time. And here is a message from the little Baba. He's not a little Baba, he's 5. Chieftain Dúnadach II Macri Grafador of Dehybert, accepting our offer of vassalization. Excellent. And now I think it's fair to say, the Kingdom of Ireland stretches to the largest extent that we have ever seen. I'm going to see if there's one more thing that we can do, and then we're going to bring this episode to an end. So Dúnadag II has accepted vassalization. His elder brother, however, or actually his uncle, Cronan, is holding out. Total of -2. So we're at 100% opinion. He's intimidated by us. Now, I've seen a couple of other people are terrified. So possibly if we can drive that dread a bit higher. The other thing is the difference in military strength. And of course our military is a bit weak at the moment as it is recuperating. So possibly in the next year or two, as those numbers increase, we might be able to chip away at that -2 and get it to a 0. And get Mercia to accept vassalization and to become part of the Kingdom of Ireland. This is land that would have been held by Cú Cherca Mór. So if we could restore all that, that would be fantastic. But like I've said, the Kingdom of Ireland most certainly at the moment is at its greatest summit. This is the most land it has ever occupied. And considering the disaster of a few episodes back when the whole thing ceased to even exist, things are going quite well for us. Like I've mentioned, the plan is, and especially now that we have seen attempts to unite all of Scandinavia and put together an alliance of some 26,000, bordering on 30,000 soldiers, we're going to have to, in the next episode, push for the conquest of England. It has been a thorn in our side for a substantial period of time. We raided the place for voluntary contributions, and they sieged down Dublin, and Dublin was under siege by them when the Swedish attacked us for something. They were always attacking us. And I forget what else they did. But England basically needs to be brought into the fold. I was thinking about it actually quite recently. That battle for Northumbria a few episodes back, for Northumberland, I thought it was a conquest of the entire region. It looks like it was just for a single county. But all the same, if they had managed to start pushing down in this direction, England would have been next. England at the moment has never suffered a full assault from the Scandinavian powers like we have. They've been pretty much isolated since the start of the game from anything from that direction, most certainly since England came into existence. So Wessex was fine. We got on A-OK with Wessex. When Wessex became England, they of course sent a rude letter to Moldholly. And yeah, we're basically going to have to do something about England in the next episode. The other thing of interest that I spotted is that Orkney has been taken by Iceland. I had plans to actually take Orkney, because of course we can cross across there. So that is possibly something that we might look into. But I think for now, what we need to do is try and get the army up to something resembling full capacity. I said that at the start of this episode, and we didn't even do that. Thank you for joining me on this episode, and I hope to see you on the next one, as we pray that God will grant long life to Rúadacán and allow him to see through his goals, because I'm not too sure what's going to happen to Scotland on the death of the High King.